addressing things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there will be anything. It'll just be me addressing you guys, telling you what's going on in Thornton Township.
When can we address you?
Our CBA, that's our collective bargaining agreement, that's our union contract. So it comes with the seat. That's what people are not saying. I didn't make this up. I didn't just create this and say, I want security.
Tiffany Henyard's name has been in the news lately, but not for the reasons she most likely desired. The investigation into her alleged misconduct as mayor of Dalton is still ongoing, and it appears that her close circle is already falling apart. Investigators are receiving more rapid assistance from those close to her, including her ex-partner, Advocate of Reports. Tiffany's ex-partner is in custody and has been providing her with information that could have dire consequences. Federal investigators are intensifying their inquiry, and those she once trusted now seem to be assisting law enforcement. To understand how this circumstance came to be, let's take a step back. Not only did Tiffany's recent rise to prominence stem from her public recognition and political clout, but she also meticulously cultivated an unbreakable image by hanging out with people whose reputations were similarly questionable. It is possible that she believed that by doing this, she established a network of associates who would take care of any legal matters. But as the investigation into her alleged misconduct intensified, she tried to stay out of the spotlight. Despite their efforts, federal investigators evidently kept looking for her. Tiffany may have believed she could stay out of the spotlight, but it appears that those around her had different ideas. She had few options. After people she had previously trusted began working for the police, among the most unexpected discoveries was the involvement of her partner, Kamal Woods, in the inquiry. Sources claim that Kamal was involved in some of Tiffany's corporate issues and played a significant part in her business operations. He was more than just a romantic partner. Notably, he was controversially appointed to be the director of her cancer foundation. The organization, which was allegedly established to help patients with breast cancer, came under fire after receiving a $110,000 gift on its first day. However, concerns arose when it was revealed that this contribution had not been accepted by the residents of Dalton. It is believed that Tiffany misappropriated these funds for her personal benefit. When it was discovered that taxpayer money had been used to cover a trip outside of Dalton to promote the foundation, more moral and legal concerns were brought up. Tiffany is accused of continuing to use public funds to support the organization after that. Reports state that government funds were used to compensate Kamal and other workers. Kamal also managed to secure a well-paying position at Thornton Township, where he reportedly earned over $100,000, much more than many Dalton residents do. When federal officials requested records related to Tiffany's business dealings, however, and Kamal was purportedly referenced in these court filings, the situation took a sharp turn. Additional subpoenas were issued and investigations were conducted into her private businesses, including a restaurant and a property management company. When a tenant lost their home in 2019 due to hazardous living conditions, including severe mold issues, concerns were raised. This incident revealed potential issues with Tiffany's business practices. As the investigation continues, it appears that those who were formerly closest to her are providing authorities with information. The mounting legal pressure has put Tiffany, who may have believed she was above the law, under close examination. The primary question remains: how far will this probe go, and what more will be found? As of right now, Tiffany's situation doesn't seem promising. According to reports, even the people she trusted the most are now helping investigators, which might be very important in determining the outcome of this case. The story of Tiffany Henyard reminds us that the individuals you select to spend time with can either reveal or protect you. In this case, it appears that her own personal friends and family are now actively helping to make these charges public. The next chapter in this evolving case is likely to be even more enlightening as detectives continue their investigation.
The roof of the ceiling is damaged, and then it leaks going into my kitchen, and the windowsill leaked in my daughter's room.
Except they weren't. Enter activist David Lowry, who called Dalton directly. Suddenly, the house deemed livable on September 3rd became unfit for occupancy on October 15th. Lowry's theory?
The trustee used her power.
To find out the truth about these businesses, the FBI looked for any records related to Tiffany Henyard's charitable foundation and political fund. But that was just the beginning. More people expressed concerns about Tiffany's actions as the probe went on. She may have foreseen this in hindsight, considering the scandals that have dogged her government from the beginning. 6 months after taking over as supervisor of Thornton Township, Tiffany was already facing criticism from her so-called dream team, the very individuals she had personally selected. Jason House and Tiana Beller were selected as trustees, and Allison Key was appointed village clerk. However, what began as a strong and united leadership team quickly turned into a cause of tension and conflict. The team members soon started to express their displeasure with Tiffany's alleged misconduct and poor leadership. They didn't want to overlook any issues, but Tiffany reportedly wanted them to follow her instructions. Without question, within 6 months, they began to accuse her of mismanaging finances and running an opaque government. By 2022, the trustees were at their most irritated. Tiffany refused to take responsibility, so they agreed with the village board and sued her, alleging serious conflicts of interest. Tiffany, however, shot back, claiming they were merely trying to undermine her efforts to heal Dalton.
That you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big bingo and the staff. I don't see the staff on. I think that's a very important bill to pay. So do y'all want to amend that and add the staff bills? Because I don't see them in none of these bills. And then we don't never do agenda like this. So all this fluff you selling to the public is crap.
Tiffany's tactics became more harsh when she began denying the trustees access to their offices, supposedly to intimidate them. But the trustees were not deterred. Determining to change the town, they started to get together without her. Although some would question whether they were exaggerating, Tiffany was actually performing poorly in her role. Deteriorating roads, run-down homes, and issues with the police force were among Dalton's pressing issues that required immediate attention. Instead of addressing these problems, Tiffany allegedly continued to use public monies for unnecessary expenses. Allegedly, public funds were used to pay for high-end advertising, first-class flights, stays at luxury hotels like the Four Seasons, DJs, photographers, and even a personal security detail. The list of questionable expenses continued to grow. Before Tiffany was elected mayor, Dalton placed a high priority on meeting the needs of its residents and encouraging community harmony. However, the focus seemed to shift under her guidance. Reports state that she canceled activities that did not immediately boost her reputation or career. A community event that the residents planned each year to promote friendship stood out as one example. Tiffany apparently refused to grant the necessary clearance to utilize the public park, preventing the event from taking place this year as scheduled. She reportedly took this action to avoid competition with her own event, which was scheduled to take place just a few miles away. To ensure that the community gathering could not take place, she even had large cement blocks to be placed at the park's entrance, blocking access. Tiffany's behavior revealed that her leadership was less concerned with the well-being of Dalton's residents and more with maintaining and improving her own reputation at all costs.
Bosley has organized an annual car show here in the parking lot of Needles Park in Dalton. But after paying $1,000 to the park district for this year's permit, Bosley got an unexpected call last Wednesday from Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's top assistant,
saying that the show will be shut down, but if I move my event to her location on Greenwood, that I will be fine.
Did you take that as a threat?
Yes, I took that as bullying.
Sure enough, when Bosley showed up at the park Saturday morning, he found that giant concrete barricades had been placed at the entrance, and Dalton police were threatening to tow any cars that parked there.
As odd as it sounds, one part of the problem with Tiffany Henyard is that you have to cancel a community event to host your own. Given her past, it's hardly surprised that the trustees and some of her closest friends began to turn against her. One of the trustees, Carmen Carlisle, has leveled serious charges against Tiffany. In a public statement, Carlisle exposed what had been happening behind the scenes for the past 2 years. Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success, funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Thornton Township and the village of Dalton. Henyard did not apologize or accept accountability for how she treated employees or taxpayers. Despite these claims, Tiffany is refusing to back down. She insists that she operated in the best interests of the people of Dalton and claims that if anyone is at blame, it should be her right-hand man, Keith Freeman. However, Freeman is now facing fraud charges in a separate FBI probe.
We will have questions.
Mayor Henyard is in a situation where she feels like she's under attack because she is.
Bo Brindley is Henyard's criminal defense attorney, hired after the FBI served subpoenas on the village and township earlier this year. He blames Henyard's top aide, Keith Freeman.
Keith Freeman made the decision on how these funds are being used. Keith Freeman is going on these trips. You understand, this is new mayor. This is someone that is new to this job.
But she never thought, hey, I shouldn't fly first class. I shouldn't stay at the Four Seasons.
If there was a problem with any of that, if that's not how you're supposed to do it, she relied on Freeman to tell her. He's telling her this is how we do it. The mayor didn't spend any of this money. Keith Freeman made decisions and reported to the mayor, this is what we're doing. The mayor trusted him.
Some individuals in Dalton still support Tiffany despite how ridiculous it all seems. Some believe she has made politics more approachable and even humorous. And she insists she is not as bad as her critics make her out to be. Tiffany's social media posts consistently go viral, making her a local superstar. However, that hasn't stopped others from speaking up. Someone stated, if this woman doesn't end up facing legal consequences for everything she's done, despite being called out the entire time, then there's no justice left in Illinois. Another wrote, the fact that this investigation is still ongoing is ridiculous and a smack in the face to the people. She should have been held accountable sooner. Now, I want to know if you agree with those who think Tiffany should be held accountable or if you support her. Kindly leave your thoughts in the space provided for comments below. And don't forget to click here to read another amazing tale